Good evening, everybody, and this is definitely not a product placement for what I have been eating. I just realized it was like clean in the camera. Hello, everybody.
You can't afford us.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elendor Chronicles, brought to you by the Component Cast. Yes, there's not much to cover this week other than you should go check us out on Patreon if you want to support the show. Patrons get early access to a lot of fun things. I have been slowly pushing updates when I get them for the coming Elendor Chronicles soundtrack, as well as various other things. But yes, I know that we're running slightly behind tonight, so I'm gonna just move us on pretty darn quickly. But yes, let's get on with the show, shall we? So, who would like to do the recap this week?
Oh, all right, then I'll do it.
Yeah, you go on then, Mordred.
So we started out by flying back to Benundum, which was pretty easy flight from the capital of the Dragonborn, whose name, Atria, that I had forgotten. On the way back, Darius asked Zep to cast Detect Magic on his bag of sigils, and we found that one of Claudia's had a tracking device, which we gave to a group of giant eagles to fly around the Benundum woods and basically throw off whoever it is that is currently pursuing them. Zaraj also went for a fly to try and throw off her fear of flying, and got up to several crazy aerial acrobatics, which Zep was very jealous about. We then went into the town itself, bought some Feyheart wood to make Zaraj a new bow, which we have now made, and it's an awesome bow. And then we started our journey to the Vestilian Theocracy, which was going to take about 3 weeks. On the way, we celebrated Tallowtide, where Sol gave the party some special candles. I didn't write down what everyone got, but Zep's candle smelled like a workshop, and he was very happy with that.
I smell nothing.
Then when we got to the Vestilian Theocracy, we found that the city itself was a burning ruin. But we were met on the outskirts by a gentleman known as Ulberic of the Shattered Sword, who basically gave us a rundown on what was going on. We witnessed that there were many different holy orders present in the place, with lots of small groups of stragglers left from a larger army. We found out that the cathedral was the first place attacked, and attacked the hardest, and the giant spire that sat on top of the cathedral had toppled, taking out a significant portion of the city. And in fact, it was so tall that the top of the tower was actually outside of the city, which is kind of crazy tall. What did we get to? Then we spoke to Gwydin, who was the champion of the City Watch, who was overseeing the cleanup and refugees. Then we met Rector Bloom, who was in charge of the medical stuff. He's a cleric of Kellamvor, and a very gaunt gentleman at that. And then tried to get into the cathedral itself, but found that it was closed to those without the proper authority, and that the guard superior there is Grandmaster Tion. Within the city itself, people were getting carts of rubble, trying to clear some of the debris and start rebuilding. But amidst all of the chaos and the ruination, people were still celebrating Tallowtide, which is a 3-day holiday to try and maintain a bit more normality. Found that the Chapel of Pelor is being used as a general hospital, and that's also a donation centre where Valmir donated a bunch of healing potions. There is apparently a sickness spreading on the north side, with Gabriel Tout, who's investigating that, though we did not meet them yet. And on the far side of the Fallen Spire, there are gangs who are currently apparently causing some problems. The Skyfire arrived eventually after initially telling them to be cautious, and we disembarked the majority of the crew into 10 groups of 25 to basically assist with the reconstruction and clearing out the city, which is being led at the moment by Zep and Darius. And that's all I got.
No problem.
Oh, and we found a guy who was playing a cello under the rubble.
Yes, you did.
Who had a sack of apples.
A reminder to everyone watching, well done as well, get your point of inspiration, but a reminder to everyone this week, and possibly for a couple of weeks now, that some of the content may have an extension to the sort of difficult topic area and trigger warning scenario, especially if you're in a situation that is where you've been experienced to the aftermath of, say, warfare or natural disasters. We do highly recommend viewer discretion is advised on that. And I will also make a message of that in the chat so that it can be pinned. If I could remember how to spell disaster. But yes, we left off with the majority of you regrouping in the center square. James, you're one of those, correct?
That is regrouping. I had to leave slightly early. I was doing the medical and alchemical aid around the camp. So however long that took, and then came back. So
yeah, you guys had just finished donating, and then I believe you went to the center. So I'd say it's about this time. Yeah. The reason I point to James specifically is an unnerving shiver runs down James's spine when, out of the corner of their eye, they recognize some heraldry. And it is the heraldry of a well-known, some would call them a holy order, others more witch hunters fits the better decider. A group from Havre who are well known for, whilst not outright going against your kind, but definitely discriminate against, and are one of the older elements of the nation that still push the idea that those with various of the afflictions that hit Havre are naturally evil. You notice that there's essentially what looks to be like a red grail with white fire out of the top of it is the symbol that you see.
Okay. Depending on who's around, I guess closest to James, he would kind of sulk back into like the group to kind of make himself less noticeable.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
Fantasy grounds open. It did not, sadly.
Okay. Roll. If you've got a dice in hand, just roll and tell me what you get.
Yep. Let's see. This one. That would be a 3 on the die.
Okay, so I'm with James because I definitely went with you to go do medical stuff. So would I notice that with the passive perception?
What's your passive perception?
16.
Yeah, it would definitely be like...
Yeah, James, it's like, you know when someone thinks that they've hidden something well, but they haven't? James has definitely just done that, and essentially he's gone like rapid turn and just your eyes have met, and he just like his eyes have gone from, you know, that sort of calm and collected to oh shit kind of look about them.
I believe I was with him as well.
Yeah, this would be Valmir, Breton, Zaraj, James, are all in this. Soul are all in this group.
Are you all right, James? Something a matter?
Well, you see, do you, we need to go somewhere that's private.
Oh.
There could be trouble, let's just say, if certain eyes fall upon me.
Whose eyes?
Red grail flames coming out of it. Anybody of that order?
I cast Pass Without a Trace. Boom. Let's get out of here. Say less.
Okay. So, you're going to cast Pass Without a Trace in the middle of a town square.
It's a ruined town square. I mean...
They're
You
busy.
were relatively
preoccupied.
close to the guard captain and stuff as well, so just okay, fine. Sure. Ethereal shadows begin to swirl around you all.
Not sus at all.
What do you do?
I've got to try and find a nearby, like the closest building or alleyway to kind of like just dip into to kind of take a longer route.
Everyone who's going with, roll a stealth check, I guess.
I'm not stealthing.
Valmir,
Yes.
give me a perception check as well, now that this individual has been pointed out.
That'd be a perception of 17.
Okay, yeah, you notice this. One of the, you would say paladin, wearing this, symbol. One of them has like, so it's like a off-white grey tabard with this red grail and then the white flame. They have like greying hair that matches the grey of the tabard, shoulder pauldrons, big hammer at their hip. But the thing that really catches your eye is her eyes.
What's up with them eyes?
One of them is red.
Oh, you twat. Yes, we okay. Soon as we're like out of sight, like we're dipping into the alley. So, James, what's going on?
Well, that particular group doesn't particularly like, I guess, those of my kind and others that are cursed like me from where I hail from. So it might be best to avoid them. At least me.
You know who else has a problem with at least one of those people? My late father. One of the things that he asked me to do was to kill a woman with a single red eye. And she's out there. So that could be an interesting conversation.
That could definitely be an interesting conflict, I'd say, not conversation.
Well, obviously not going to do it, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious as to why he wanted her dead specifically.
That would definitely be something interesting that you all could look into. I'd definitely be trying to keep my distance.
I can disguise you. If you do not wish to be found, I have a disguise kit, and while I cannot change the color of your eyes or your pointy teeth, maybe I can give you one of these. And I'd like to pull out, like the glasses with the eyebrows and the fake nose.
Oh yeah.
Disguise kit.
Oh gosh, what's the technical? What are they called?
They have a name.
Yes.
Gonzo glasses.
Yeah, Gonzo glasses. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something like Gonzo glasses.
Something like that. See if this helps. I don't know if I have to roll to disguise James.
Do you have a disguise? Do you have a disguise kit?
Disguise kit, yeah.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
As you sit and try and work on this design.
I got.
For clarification, you said one of the, I'm going to call them Inquisitors, because that's just the only thing I can think of now,
Yep.
had an eye that was red. When you say red, do you mean a red eye that's red, kind of like James's eyes?
No, so... Breton, just give me a quick perception check as well, because I'm sure you would have like looked in the same direction once it was pointed out to you. Oh, it's Groucho glasses.
Yes,
So I think
Groucho,
yeah, it's Groucho, because it's Groucho Marx, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said Gonzo at first.
I got
Yeah.
a 6.
You got a 6?
It was almost like that there was like a birthmark around the eye as well.
Like Zuko kind of thing.
A kind of Zuko, yeah, kind of Prince Zuko.
So I don't see a messed up eye, I see a port wine stain. Okay.
Yeah. But their actual eye as well had tinting to it.
Okay.
I kind of would like to warn this person that there are devilish intentions against their life.
I don't want to warn an enemy of James.
I want to warn an enemy of our cause.
I wouldn't necessarily say that they're my enemy. Would you clarify them as an enemy, Jane?
In certain cases, you'd regard them as an enemy. It depends on the follower. The problem is that they attract the ideologically fanatical sort. So, whilst best ideals and intentions and may have been held by some, it is the majority that use it as an excuse more so than anything. They're not great to those who suffer from the afflictions of your land.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you remain with us, James, you will be safe.
Well, then I guess I shall remain attached to someone for the time being.
I mean, just, yeah, stick around, all of us, and...
I don't suppose it would be too much trouble to find you some eye coverings.
You do not like these?
Yeah,
What aviators.
Dog-shaded glasses or goggles or something that would hide the giveaway telltale signs. Your complexion is not as pale as it might be.
Let's just get them aviators. Just dark mirror aviators.
Yeah.
I believe you are too handsome.
No. Sorry.
Have you tried a hood?
Dark and menacing.
Well, Breton is saying this knowing full well that I'm pretty sure Zep has a pair of goggles on him right now.
They're on his head.
Let's double the dark and menacing. Let's square it.
But what if he needs to
Zep-
emergency
yeah.
weld something?
Zep isn't with you guys right now, just as a reminder. You have Brawn, though.
Yes, we do have Braun.
I mean, we could probably fashion a quick mask or something that has a pair of lenses in it or something. I mean...
A full face covering helmet.
I will...
Give him a bassinet and just hope.
Looking back and forth between James and Valmir, is this an order that Breton would be familiar with? Would Valmir also be somebody who might come under reproach by these individuals?
Give me a quick religion check, Breton.
Sure.
Or history, whatever's better for you.
Yeah,
They're the same.
got a name of
I'm rolling poorly. That's a 10.
No, with
Super racist against
a
tieflings
with
as
a
well.
10, yeah, they'll probably have an issue with Valmir too.
Yeah. You know what? Let's not worry about the disguise. You're gonna look at Valmir as that's a little bit harder to hide.
I think we should just avoid them entirely. You have infernal heritage?
Oh. Those
And even though you were personally involved in slaying that infernal heritage, which good job by the way, still, not talking enough about that. It is
Just
a point of
sins of the father.
Yes, appearances unfortunately do go a long way to certain people.
The horns hold up the halo. I don't know. Yeah.
No, well, the horns are sometimes, depending on the religion, thought as a broken halo. That's what creates the horns. It's usually a unified circle, end to end, but when they lose their divinity or succumb to demonhood, they gain horns because it breaks.
We'll deal with that problem when it potentially comes up. For now, we can just prioritize interacting with that group with individuals who are not on the immediate hunt and incentivized.
Why are they meant to clear out the rebels or the rubble, or are they searching for people to persecute?
It could be that these are all holy orders, and many of them have been dedicated by Longreach itself, so it is entirely possible these orders were here with the best intentions of helping or hunting down whatever beings caused this. While they do have a particular distaste for beings such as this, they are still an order and they still hold themselves to a certain standard. They do not do that exclusively to the exclusivity of everything else.
What order is this?
Yeah, I was just about to ask the name too.
Did I get that with my 10?
No, nobody got it yet, but James would know.
It's the one he's running from.
Yeah, it's the Order of the Purifying Flame.
Hmm.
Lovely sounding.
Yeah.
For every order there is there with the best intentions, there is one that is a bit Deus Vult.
I just have seen this where after a disaster and everyone has no home or place to hide and everyone is out and they are struggling looking for food, that is when the authorities swoop in and nab those innocent people.
If we need to speak with them, I will do it. That's fine. But for now, we should focus on what's important. We have a city in desperate need of aid, and we are in a good position to be able to deliver that. We have learned a few things, namely that the authority figures of the religious sect are more than useless here, as they can't seem to agree on who should be in charge. And because they can't agree on who is in charge, they are not seeing anyone, preventing us from getting information from them and access to the individuals who have been captured and were responsible for the attack. There is also evidently some widespread looting, pillaging, and, well, other unpleasant activities that are taking part in certain sections of the cities from the Zedaar element, who decided that working with everyone else just isn't in their best interest.
Too busy fighting over who can be king of the rubble to clear up the rubble.
Yes.
Luckily, the commander of the watch, was it Lady Gwydwyn or just Captain Gwydwyn?
It's just Captain Gwydwyn. God Captain Gwydwyn.
Yeah. God Captain Gwydwyn seems to have a good head on her shoulders, and she is organizing everything else, so I have promised her that any efforts that we can provide should go through her, since she's actually managing something. But if you ask me, I feel like our first priority should be dealing with the seedier problems of the city. Showing these people that showing the people that there is aid here, and that taking things by force in that regard is not going to be tolerated.
It also allows us to build up some reputation within the city. People might be more willing to listen to us if we could prove that we know what we're doing and assisting them.
And is it more of an organized effort, or is it more of like a mob mentality loot? Like, is it like gangs are like Lord of the Fliesing it, or is it just every man for themselves kind of thing?
From what you can see is the city is pretty, for the most part, pretty organized in the areas that are accessible en masse. So like the main streets of, like, there is enough effort where people are being taken to various hospital tents or surgery tents, etc. There's soup kitchens, things being set up. Like a lot of the initial like ground zero crash the cathedral site has been converted into like a restoration of the city, but the tower that fell was so big that there is an entire quadrant of the city that is walled off from the rest and enclosed behind essentially a rubble wall and the main city wall, with very, very few ways to get in and out easily. So like main supply hasn't been able to come back in. Anything that needs to be brought in is in by hand at the moment, kind of thing. And that is where the people are being kind of forced to fend for themselves. You haven't actually fully been over there, so you don't really know the true state, but that's kind of how it's been outlined. And that there are some sort of petty gang elements that are starting to form up in those areas where the people haven't been helped yet.
With that information, I think getting over there and seeing firsthand what is going on probably is next course of action.
Should we try to get those people out into the other part of the city, or should we bring food and supplies for them who are trapped within?
I think getting in there and seeing what's going on is a priority. If we can get the manpower, and this is something that Zep, who is not here, I still notice. If they're going to focus on clearing out aspects of the city, then maybe focusing on this tower and opening up the sections of the city back to the main masses would do the best good.
To elaborate on that, we have begun clearing a section of the city, the tower defined by the captain, I believe. Sol sent the information over. It is, from what I have seen, very... This is a lot. It will take a lot of time. But Zep has crews working on things.
You know who I miss in this situation? Zedaar. He would be a great help. Anyway, I guess we should get to work. What do we do first?
You know, I just have to say that I've heard this name a lot, and he just seems like he was the unifying beacon of your party. Seems like he's left a touch on all of you.
You could say that.
Okay, so whilst you guys have a think of what you want to do, let's jump over to the two individuals still ongoing with a lot of the rescue attempts. You guys are slightly in the future compared. You guys, Zep and Darius, you have managed to... It's been... That one successful rescue is probably at this point the highlight of your working time at the moment. The rest of it is a lot of monotonous shoveling and moving and organization, and then moving and the respectful handling of people's property and other things when you finally uncover it. Is there anything you guys want to particularly focus on now that you've like really gotten into the brunt of this searching and this SNR and this working the situation, for lack of better of term?
I think going after the gangs and bringing some semblance to order serves our efforts in twofolds. We'll be able to gain ourselves some more knowledge and information about what's going on in the city. And if we could even...
You're not here.
You're not here. I'm talking to Zep and Darius.
Never mind.
Sorry. So Zep, Darius, what would you like to now focus on? Are you still just trying to get a grips with the situation, or is there something more direct you would like to focus on?
I don't think there's anything specifically Zep is doing. He's probably unconsciously going anywhere where there's fire damage in particular, just because of memories, but no, he's just using his expertise to organize and improvise as he can to clear rubble to where people may be
As I know, are you wanting to invest any crafting material into the project, or are you just using stuff that you can find?
I would imagine there was quite a lot of stuff around, but yes, Zep would absolutely use crafting materials if he needed to.
Okay. Because I would say that if you spent like 100 crafting material, you would have got a couple of extra cranes made, which would probably help quite a bit.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. Yep.
Okay. So Darius, is there anything that you're particularly like heading for, trying to outline, like you trying to...
No, like I said last week, it's mostly just there to help facilitate the whole operation.
Zep, if you could...
check that requires.
Sure. If Zep, you could then give me a another artifice check as you use your engineering brain to help clear rubble, and if Darius, you could use either survival, or honestly, if you're organizing teams and acting more as a foreman, I would allow for like a persuasion, probably. Like,
okay, great.
I
was trying to jockey for persuasion.
28. I'll use a flash of genius on this.
Okay.
12 with the 2. So